Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Wednesday, January 8th, 2020. New name of the podcast. I announced it on my show yesterday. I'm changing the name of it because I want to add more of a pop culture and news flavor to the show at times, but it's still going to be mostly a sports podcast. Today we're going to talk about college basketball, NBA, and NHL from last night. Look ahead to tonight's slates, what we know and what I question for each and every NHL team, and my best bet of the day. Okay, now we're going to talk college basketball. We're going to go over the results from last night and look ahead to the games tonight. There's a lot of conference games, major conference games last night, so I'll get to each and every one of them. So, without further ado, here we go. Number 12, Maryland over number 11, Ohio State, 67-55. Number 13, Louisville over Miami, 74-58. Boston College upsets number 18, Virginia, 60-53. Rutgers upsets number 20, Penn State, 72-61. Florida over South Carolina, 81-68. Tennessee over Missouri, 69-59. Providence over Marquette, 81-80 in overtime. Quinnipiac over Rider, 80-61. Browns over Johnson and Wales, Rhode Island, 79-53. Akron over Western Michigan, 84-69. Kent State over Toledo, 84-77. Ohio over Eastern Michigan, 74-68. Ball State over Buffalo, 88-68. Central Michigan over Northern Illinois, 68-67. Bowling Green over Miami of Ohio, 78-76. That was all the MAC pretty much right there. East Carolina over South Florida, 62-59. Houston over Temple, 78-74. Cornell over New York Purchase, 168. Missouri State over Illinois State, 67-63. Northern Iowa over Indiana State, 68-60. Southern Illinois over Valparaiso, 63-50. Number 4, Baylor over number 22, Texas Tech, 57-52. Number 14, Kentucky over Georgia, 78-69. Number 16, Villanova over Creighton, 64-59. Virginia Tech over Syracuse, 67-63. Texas A&M over Ole Miss, 57-47. Nebraska over Iowa, 76-70. Drake over Loyola Chicago, 65-62. TCU over Kansas State, 59-57. Air Force over Utah State, 79-60, and New Mexico over Fresno State, 78-64. Tonight's late, 6 o'clock, you have Campbell at UNC Asheville, Hampton at South Carolina Upstate, 6:30 Fox Sports 1, St. John's at Georgetown. Georgetown's a 4-point favorite. I'm going to take St. John's plus the 4. I think they're live here to win the game outright. So give me St. John's plus the 4. I think that they're due to get a conference win here. Big Ten Network, Northwestern, Indiana. Indiana's giving 13.5. I think the number's pretty big. I think Northwestern hangs around. It's a rivalry game. So give me Northwestern plus the 13.5. I just think Indiana wins by like 9 rather than 15. Mississippi State and Alabama. Alabama's a 3-point favorite. I'm taking the Bulldogs here in a bounce-back spot. They lost the other day to Auburn. Alabama, I'm just not overly impressed with. So give me Mississippi State plus the 3. I think they win the game. Pitt at North Carolina. UNC is a 4.5-point favorite. I'm taking Pitt plus the 4.5. I think they win the game outright. Carolina season's going into the tank. No Cole Anthony. And I think Pitt gets a signature win to keep themselves alive in the NCAA tournament picture. ESPNU, Tulsa and Cincinnati. Cincinnati's a 9-point favorite. Take Tulsa plus 9. It went from 9.5 to 9. I love Tulsa. I think that Cincinnati's getting too much credit for past success. Big Cronin's gone. Tulsa's not bad this year, so give me Tulsa plus 9. UMBC Binghamton, Hartford, UMass Lowell, Stony Brook, Vermont, Duquesne, St. Joe's. Duquesne's an 8-point favorite on the road. Give me Duquesne minus the 8. They're just way better than St. Joe's this year. Davidson, Rhode Island on CBS Sports Network. Rhode Island's a 4-point favorite at home. Give me Rhode Island minus the 4. I think that number is skewed, and I still think Davidson's getting preseason credit that they don't deserve. Winthrop, High Point, Marist, Fairfield, American Army, Loyola Maryland, Colgate, Lehigh, Boston University, Holy Cross, Lafayette, Herman, Chattanooga, Western Carolina, VMI, Radford, Gardner Webb, Notre Dame, NC State. NC State's a 4-point favorite at home. Give me Notre Dame plus the 4. I think they're live. I think they'll win the game. Mike Bray is good as a dog against teams that I think are like somewhat inferior to them. So I think NC State is inferior a little to Notre Dame. I think this game could be one that we look back on and say, oh, the winner of that team made the winner of that game made the tournament. So give me Notre Dame plus the 4. I think they win the game. LaSalle, UMass. UMass is a 3-point home favorite. I love LaSalle here. I think they win the game outright. They're the better team. Maine, New Hampshire. Navy, Bucknell. Bradley, Evansville. East Tennessee State, UNC Greensboro is a big game in the SoCon, so I'm going to pick it. They're a combined 25-7. Greensboro is a 1-point home favorite. I think they win. I think this is a toss-up game. They're just giving Greensboro the point at home. They obviously think East Tennessee State is favored, or the better team. So give me Greensboro minus the 1 to get a big win in a battle of a game, in my opinion, that could mean an at-large for the winner. 7:30 ACC Network, number 10, Florida State at Wake Forest. Florida State's a 7-point favorite at Wake. Give me Wake plus the points. I think Wake is kind of live here. I don't know if they'll actually win the game, but Wake showed me a lot in a couple of their games this season. Florida State's decent, obviously, 13-2, 10th in the country. But I think Wake can hang around. So give me Wake Forest plus the 7. Wofford, Sanford, Southeast Louisiana, Sam Houston State, A&M Corpus Christi, Stephen F. Austin, Longwood, Charleston Southern, 8 o'clock ESPN Plus, number 3 Kansas at Iowa State. Kansas is a 5-point favorite. Give me Kansas minus the points. The Jayhawks are a team that's really in peak form right now. I believe that the Jayhawks are just a notch above everybody else in the Big 12 right now, and it kind of showed in their game against West Virginia the other day. So give me Kansas minus the 5. I think they could win this by double digits. George Washington, St. Louis. St. Louis is a 10.5-point favorite at home. I think they cover that. George Washington is not that good. UCF, SMU. SMU is minus 7.5. I think they cover that number. SMU is playing good basketball. UCF is not. McNeese, Abilene Christian, Nichols, Lamar, Central Arkansas, New Orleans, Omaha, North Dakota, Purdue, Fort Wayne, Western Illinois, Northwestern State, Incarnate Word, Seton Hall, Xavier. Xavier's a 3-point favorite at home on the Fox Sports Network. Tough line, evenly matched teams. Miles Powell's a guy on Seton Hall that's obviously great and gives you a chance to win every game. So give me Xavier minus the 3 here. 9 o'clock ACC Network. Number 2 Duke and Georgia Tech. I like Georgia Tech getting the 11.5. I just think they're going to be competitive here. Obviously, the case against Georgia Tech is the letdown factor because they just upset Carolina. But I just think Duke's looking ahead a little bit. So give me Georgia Tech plus 11.5. SEC Network, Vanderbilt against number 5 Auburn. Auburn's a 14.5-point home favorite. I think they covered that. I love the way that this team's playing. Bruce Pearl's done one hell of a job. So give me Auburn minus the 14.5. Number 7, San Diego State at Wyoming. San Diego State's a 16-point favorite. I think the number's pretty large. I think Wyoming can hang around. I just think this is like a 13-point game rather than a 17-point game. So give me Wyoming plus 16. San Diego State obviously wins. UNLV, Boise State. Boise State's a 6-point favorite. Give me UNLV to cover, but Boise to win. South Dakota State, Denver. Illinois, Wisconsin on the Big Ten Network. Wisconsin's minus 4.5. Give me Wisconsin. I think this team is rounding in the form. That was an impressive win against Tennessee the other day. Impressive win at Ohio State. This team's on a roll. Greg Gard might be headed to the dance with this team this year. They need this one, so give me Wisconsin minus 4.5 at home. ESPNU, Arkansas at LSU. LSU's a 6-point favorite. Give me Arkansas. I think they're going to win the game outright. They're playing great right now. LSU, I think, is just getting too much preseason credit. So give me Arkansas plus the 6. Tulane, UConn on CBS Sports Network. UConn's laying 11. Give me Tulane plus the 11. I think Tulane's live here, actually. They're playing really well under Rob Hunter. And UConn, I think, is just getting too much credit. So give me Tulane plus 11. ESPN2, Oklahoma, Texas. Is Texas a 3-point favorite? Both these teams are playing well. Probably both going to the tournament. Give me Shaka Smart's team at home. Cal Baptist, Cal State Bakersfield at 10 o'clock. Santa Barbara and Cal Poly. Nevada, San Jose State. Nevada's a 9.5-point favorite. Give me Nevada to win and to cover. Long Beach State and Cal State Northridge. All right, now on to the NBA. We'll go over last night's results and look ahead to tonight's slate of games. Pistons over the Cavs, 115-113. Blazers over the Raptors, 101-99. Thunder over the Nets, 111-103 in overtime. Grizzlies over the Timberwolves, 119-112. Kings over the Suns, 114-103. And the Lakers over the Knicks, 117-87. All right. Tonight's slate, Raptors, Hornets at 7 o'clock. Heat, Pacers, Spurs, Celtics, Wizards, Magic, 7:30 ESPN. Nuggets, Mavs. The Mavs are a 3-point favorite at home. I like the Nuggets getting the 3. I think they win the game outright. No Porzingis and no Hardaway for Dallas, I don't think. So I like Denver. Nikola Jokic is starting to play better. This might be a back-to-back for the Nuggets. Actually, no, it's not. So I like it even more. So give me the Nuggets plus the 3 here on the road. Rockets, Hawks, 8 o'clock Bulls, Pelicans, and 10 o'clock on ESPN. Oh, we missed the Knicks, Jazz at 9 o'clock. And then 10 o'clock ESPN, Bucks, Warriors. Milwaukee minus 13.5. Give me Golden State plus the 13.5. I just think this game's going to be somewhat competitive. You know, Draymond Green isn't going to let this team lose, or not say lose, isn't going to let them get blown out by the Bucks. This kind of reminds me of the Rockets on Christmas a little bit. I don't think Golden State's live, though, and I just think this is a competitive game on national TV. So give me Golden State plus 13.5 so they don't embarrass themselves in front of a national audience. Now I'm going to talk NHL. I'm going to go over last night's scores and look ahead to tonight's slate. Last night was a busy slate. Lightning over the Canucks 9-2. Coyotes over the Panthers 5-2. Isles over the Devils 4-3 in overtime. Caps over the Senators 6-1. Hurricanes over the Flyers 5-4 in overtime. Red Wings over the Canadiens 4-3. Rangers over the Avs 5-3 in Igor Shesterkin's debut. Blues over the Sharks 3-2. Bruins over the Predators 6-2 in John Hines' first game. Flames over the Blackhawks 2-1. Penguins over the Golden Knights 4-3. And Blue Jackets over the Ducks 4-3. 3 games tonight, 7:30 Jets Maple Leafs, NBCSN Capitals Flyers. Washington is favored on the road. They're minus 125. I like the Flyers at home as a nice home underdog. I think that Philly is going to play well in front of a national audience. Carter Hart has something to prove. This team's not bad, and I think this team will make the playoffs. So give me Philadelphia at home as an underdog to win. Stars Kings on NBCSN. Dallas is a minus 135 road favorite. I think Dallas will win. I think they'll win by multiple goals. The Kings, I'll get into them when I do my next segment, but I just don't think they're in a good place as a franchise right now. So give me the Dallas Stars here to win by multiple goals on the road. Now I'm going to do my new segment, What We Know and What I Question. This time around is going to be every NHL team. Yesterday's podcast, I did NBA teams, What We Know and What I Question. And on Friday, I did the NFL playoff teams. So, without further ado, What We Know and What I Question. I'm going to go in alphabetical order for the most part. The Anaheim Ducks. I think this team needs a rebuild. So that's my statement is this team needs a rebuild. Question, do they actually blow it up? Who knows? The Coyotes. Taylor Hall has been a great fit. Question, can they re-sign Hall? Maybe. It would make them winners of the trade if they did. I think. David Pastrnak is a star for the Bruins. And my question is this finally the year that they win with this younger core around? And don't forget that first cup with the Bruins, there was like Tyler Seguin and Tim Thomas. So don't forget there's some core players on this team that were not around in 2011. And Pastrnak was obviously one of them because he was probably a teenager in 2011. The Sabres. This team's hot start was an aberration. Question, is Linus Ullmark the answer in goal? I don't think so. Flames. A lot of their young core players have not lived up to expectations this season. Question, is David Rittich the answer in goal? He's shown, I think, more promise than Ullmark this season and in the past, obviously, last year. So we'll see. Carolina Hurricanes. Andrei Svechnikov has made the leap. I really think this guy's made the leap into stardom. And my question is, will Justin Williams provide any help? They re-signed Justin Williams yesterday, and I'm interested to see if he'll help them. The Chicago Blackhawks. This team needs to rebuild. And my question is, are they willing to trade away some veterans and build around Alex DeBrincat, and Kirby Dach? I mean, Patrick Kane, they'll probably keep around because he's still producing at a high level. But the other guys, like Duncan Keith, that contract is probably immovable. Same with Jonathan Toews. Those two players are obviously declining players. Brent Seabrook, declining player. So I'm fascinated to see what Chicago does at the deadline this year. Colorado Avalanche. Cale Makar is the Calder favorite. Question, can they make a trade to help their offense? The Columbus Blue Jackets are still hanging around sans no Artemi Panarin and Sergei Bobrovsky. Question, is Joonas Korpisalo the real deal? The Dallas Stars. The coaching change did them wonders. Question, will they make a trade to improve their chances? The Detroit Red Wings are by far the worst team in the league. Question, does Jeff Blashill survive this mess? The Edmonton Oilers. Connor McDavid continues to be the best player in the game. Question, can the goaltending be good enough to carry them or help carry them in the spring? TBD in my opinion. Panthers. Sergei Bobrovsky has not lived up to the contract. Question, can this team actually sneak into the playoffs? They're one back in the wild card as of right now. 1 point back. The Los Angeles Kings. In dire need of a complete rebuild. And my question is, which veterans get dealt? You're hearing their veterans all the time. Doughty, Quick, Clifford, Kopitar. Fascinating. Minnesota Wild. Goaltending has been a bigger issue than expected. Question, is Bruce Boudreau in trouble? Montreal Canadiens. Carey Price isn't the Carey Price of old. Question, is Claude Julien's job in jeopardy? The Nashville Predators. Expectations have not been met, so the coaching change obviously has been made. And my question is, can John Hines get this team back to where it needs to be? The New Jersey Devils. The team has not lived up to preseason expectations. Question, can Nico Hischier and Jack Hughes become stars? The New York Islanders. Barry Trotz continues to prove people wrong. Question, does Lou Lamoriello finally make a deal for a great scoring wing? The New York Rangers. Artemi Panarin has changed their offense and their power play. And my question for them is this the end of the Henrik Lundqvist era? Yesterday we saw Igor Shesterkin make his NHL debut and he got the win, sans him giving up 3 goals earlier in the game. Team rallied around him. He played better. 29 saves on 32 shots. So we'll see if this marks the end of an era in New York. The Ottawa Senators. DJ Smith has gotten a lot out of some young players. Question, do they sell more pieces at the trade deadline? The Philadelphia Flyers. Alain Vigneault has proved to be a good hire. Question, is Carter Hart capable of leading a playoff run? The Pittsburgh Penguins. The team remains resilient, sans a lot of injuries. And my question for them is, will this team make a trade? All right, San Jose. It looks like the end of the run for this core. Question, do they blow it up at the trade deadline? The St. Louis Blues continue to thrive without their best player, Vladimir Tarasenko. Question, can they actually repeat as Stanley Cup champions? Next up, the Tampa Bay Lightning. My statement for them and what we know is that this team has really turned it on after a very, very slow start. And my question for them is that, will this hot play keep up in the spring? The Toronto Maple Leafs. The coaching change did them wonders. My question is this finally the year where they get back to the Stanley Cup Finals and they are they last year's Blues in the making? All right, next up is the Vancouver Canucks. My statement for them is that a lot of their young players have really taken the next step. And my question for them is, can they actually sneak in to the playoffs this year? Next up, the Vegas Golden Knights. This is one of the better all-around teams in the NHL. After in yet another slow start, they're back in first place and where they should be. And my question for them is whether they can get back to the Stanley Cup final in their third year of existence, in their second time in 3 seasons. Next up, the Washington Capitals. My statement for them is that Alex Ovechkin continues to be great, or I should say the Great Eight. And my question for the Caps is, does Ovechkin hit 700 goals this season? I think that's very realistic. And last but not least, the Winnipeg Jets. My statement for them is they really have taken a step back after a disappointing playoffs last year. And my question for them is Paul Maurice the coach going forward, or is he the answer, that head coach going forward? All right, that was a fun segment. And last but not least, my best bets of the day, brought to you by FanDuel. I'm 4-0 in best bets since the new best bets have emerged. So today for best bets, I had to go with 2 college basketball games because I didn't love any of the NBA ones today. But if I did have to pick an NBA one, it would have been Golden State getting 13.5. That would have been my best NBA bet. But I loved these 2 college picks way more. And by the way, I got these numbers before they moved down a half point. So I'm going to do them from where I got them on FanDuel. Tulsa getting 9.5 at Cincinnati. I said before, I think Cincinnati's getting too much credit because of past success. And I think that Tulsa is playing hard for their coach, who I think is on the hot seat and has been on the hot seat for a while. They haven't been to the tournament since they got put in 2016 over the likes of St. Bonaventure and Monmouth, and everybody freaked out that Tulsa made the tournament. And I think that this Tulsa team's a little better than given credit for. I think they're live in this game, so give me Tulsa plus 9.5 at Cincinnati. And the other one's an underdog as well. It's Tulane getting 11.5 at UConn. UConn's been disappointing. I think they're getting too much credit because Dan Hurley's their coach, and they're UConn. And Tulane, obviously, Ron Hunter's their coach. And they are coming off the upset over Cincinnati, so there's obviously a letdown case for Tulane, and the case for Cincinnati against Tulsa is that it's a bounce-back spot. But I like this Tulane team. I think Ron Hunter's done a great job in his first year there. I think this program's going to be relevant before we know it. They probably won't make the tournament this year, but maybe within the next few years they'll be there. So give me Tulane plus 11.5 at UConn, and I think they're kind of live in this spot as well. That's it for the podcast today, the first one under the new name. Tomorrow I'll be back recapping college basketball, NBA, and NHL, looking ahead to tomorrow. Maybe I'll have a guest on tomorrow night. We shall see. We may do an NFL mock draft. We may do what we know and what I question. Maybe with LSU and Clemson, or maybe with college basketball, one of the conferences. We'll see. So I hope you guys have a great day, everybody.